Welcome in, everyone, to episode 12 of Paid for Play. Today we are joined by Goose, and we got Steven Carlson coming in today. Very special guest. He's going to be taking over a little bit during college basketball season. Very good at college basketball, very knowledgeable guy. We'd love to have him on, especially for college football. Get us a little preview of what's going to happen during college basketball season today. JD got a little too much rest this morning, overslept. Can't blame him. He's on the West Coast. It's only 7 a.m. I wouldn't be up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, but guy doesn't stop. He's a grinder. Steven, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. It's the best time of year. You got the perfect mix of the end of college football, feast week college basketball. I mean, it's just a great time to watch college sports.
Couldn't agree more. Goose, how we feeling?
We're feeling great. Well rested, went in hibernation yesterday, and I'm ready to flock today.
Flock up, baby. We had a great week last week. First winning week on the show for probably a while, definitely for me. I've sucked recently. But it was nice to get back in the win column. Get some dubs on the board, have a winning week for the first time in a long time. So we can go ahead and add JD in. It looks like he's ready to go finally here. We admire the dedication to get up this morning with us. JD, how we doing?
Been better. Just woke up. I don't know if I've said on the show before, but I coached our high school basketball team. And we had our first game last night. It did not go very well at all. So then we stayed up late watching the UNLV game. So here we are this morning, ready for some more college football. Let's get to it.
All right. At what do you ever at any point do you plan on bringing out the again from Miracle, Herb Brooks style? If you all get that lackadaisical.
Something needs to change.
Something needs to change.
Think on it. Something big needs to happen Monday because it was bad.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. JD, we'll let him get the coffee in him a little bit. Work him last into this first one. Michigan State, Ohio State, biggest game on the docket for the day. Top 5 matchup, or top 10 matchup. I guess we can answer this question from Joseph just to start. I would assume Caleb Williams. I mean, I don't have any information, but dude got his hand stepped on last week. That's why I feel like he got pulled, but they were neither quarterback did well for Oklahoma last week. So, but yeah, Ohio State getting 19 at home or giving 19 at home. Goose, what's your read on the game? Big Ten Goose.
So I'm about to pull a JD right here. I have a player prop that I like. This is my first college football player prop that I've given out, and it's Chris Olave over 74.5 receiving yards. Look,
I'm adding that right now.
He's third on his team in receiving yards, but it's senior day. I really do feel like that has something to do with it. I think early on they'll pepper him, and then I just think the total is creeping to 70 total points. This is going to be a shootout. So if early on they pepper him and just game flow, he's in it, I think he goes over 74.5. I want to say I was looking, he got it last week, but the 3 weeks before, he actually did not receive or get over 74.5 receiving yards. But yeah, I don't have a full read on the game. 19.5 is a lot. I think Ohio State's the second best team in America. I still don't know how good Michigan State is. I don't know if they're a top 10 team, a top 20 team. Either way, they're a really great team. And then lastly, with the game, I guess maybe a transitive property. Kenneth Walker was able to run on Michigan, and Ohio State gave up a lot of rushing yards to Oregon. I just feel like Michigan State can run against the bigger teams, and on top of that, Ohio State is susceptible to great running backs. So I don't want to give out a side because I think Kenneth Walker goes crazy, but I like the Chris Olave angle on senior day.
All right, Steven, you got anything for us?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Goose on the Kenneth Walker having a big day. And I mean, I think I think if he goes off in the first half, that opens up room for them to pass a little bit more once Ohio State feels like they have to stack the box. So, I mean, I just agree that the 19s, like getting 19s too many. I think both teams score. I don't think any team really pulls away. So I think I like Michigan State plus 19 here.
Yeah. I like the over here. As Goose said, I think Ohio State's defense is a little susceptible to giving up some big plays. We've seen that time and time again. Even whenever, like, anytime they've played some better competition like the Oregon, Penn States, they haven't been able to get off the field. And you have a Heisman front runner in Kenneth Walker on Michigan State. We'll see if Mel earns that 10-year, $95 million contract he got. He needs to send a great big old thank you gift to Scott Woodward and LSU for that one, because, I mean, I understand giving him a raise, but making him the second highest paid coach in college football? Are we serious? Like, I thought, I mean, Dabo and Nick Saban, they're licking their chops, because whoever LSU hires and pays and makes the highest paid coach in college football, like, the second they sign that deal, I'm pretty sure it's in Nick Saban's contract. Like, if another coach gets signed for more money than he's making, he gets like $1 more. I'm almost positive that's in his contract. But JD, you got anything for us on this game?
Yeah, I'll go quick. I won't hash out all the points. I also grabbed some Michigan State plus 19. It seems like too many points. I haven't played Michigan State once all year. I don't think I've said a single nice thing about them all year. But Ohio State's defense, we haven't seen it. We've seen them shut down some bad rush defenses. Are they going to shut down Kenneth Walker? I mean, he had 5 touchdowns against Michigan, so I wouldn't be so sure about that. I don't know. We'll see. I like the Chris Olave overs. I'm playing him some in DraftKings. I played him some last week, and he had like 23 points, and somehow he was the lowest scoring wide receiver on Ohio State. But on senior night, it just kind of seems like a coin flip. 74 points against the worst passing defense in the Power 5. I don't see why you wouldn't play that. I have CJ Stroud overs as well. I think we're going to see points, especially in the first half. I did see a stat going out there. Ohio State has not covered the spread in 7 straight games before the Michigan game. And I do think there's a little look ahead spot there as well. So that makes me a little nervous on the Michigan State side. They might get down, an early deficit and then have to come back. But I could see them doing that. I think if you're targeting Ohio State, you target the first half. And I think a first half first half spread is also in play for Ohio State. And yes, the Phil Jurkovec, I hear his name pronounced about 100 different ways. That's just a mispricing. He's healthy. He's in play. He's a good quarterback. So 4.5K. Everybody's going to own him, but I think you should as well.
All right. Great analysis. We will move on to, I guess, pretty big game for the day. We really don't have that big of a slate, or that great of a slate. It's a good thing we got some college basketball mixing in. Get a little bit of that on the second TV setup if you have it. But we have Wake Forest going to Clemson. Wake Forest, number 10 team in the country, getting 10 points or 4 points. This is just system play for me. If I see a ranked team, I guess this is my one. If this ranked team is going to an unranked team and they're an underdog, I'll take that. So I'm going to contradict that here in a little bit just because I believe in Dave Aranda. But Goose, we'll go right back to you. Clemson Homer, let's hear it.
Yeah, I told my mom in like the 10th grade I was going to go to Clemson. Never applied, but now that they're good in football, I'll rep them. Look, I'm going to play the over in this one. Line shop, I see it at over 57.5. I just last week, I think we all did. We thought Wake Forest was going to get slowed down by NC State. That didn't happen. Wake Forest was able to play with a nice defense. They put up 45. I think Clemson's offense, in the stat books, it's turning around. I really haven't watched them too much, but they just put up 30 against Louisville and put up 30 against Florida State. That's really not saying much, but they're going against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is going to just try to go, and go. And so I like the over 57.5. I think we get something in like the low 60s. And yeah, Clemson has a great defense, but I just think Wake Forest will be able to crack the code a little.
All right. I'm almost talking myself out of this Clemson pick. Just like I just did a complete 180 in my head because I mean Wake Forest can score. I've seen them been able to give up points, but I don't know. Like if you score, Clemson's highest point total is what 30 this year, like you just mentioned in the last
44 last week against UConn. Sorry, Steven.
I mean, does that even really count? Like,
I mean, did they cover though? I don't think they covered.
yeah, great
No.
teams cover. So, Steven, you got to see this team up close and personal last week. Let's hear what you got on them.
Yeah, so I also really like the over here. It's weird to say, but I kind of like Wake Forest plus the 4 just because Wake Forest's lowest scoring game has been 35 points and Clemson's highest scoring game against a D1 team, because I don't even consider my team D1 right now the way we've been playing, has been 30 points. So just looking at that, it's the over for me, and then it's also going to be Wake Forest. I think I just play a money line. I think they're just the better offense, and Clemson, even against bad defenses, hasn't proven that their offense can look elite. So I'd take Wake Forest money line.
Okay, like the Hungry Dogs edition. Get us a little bit even without Rex today. JD, any DFS or any advice for this one?
Yeah, I like the Wake side. I think they've been undervalued all year. I tried to bet against them last week. I regretted it almost immediately when I saw how good they looked, just like they have every week. So they've been probably one of the most undervalued teams all year, and Clemson's been one of the most overvalued teams all year. So I could only look at the Wake side, but not an official play for me. But I like Steven's bet. I did take some DJ Uangalele's overs on Prize Picks, which feels ridiculous, but this Wake Forest defense is bad, man. Like we know what they are. Like they don't hide it at all. They're all offense, no defense. They can't tackle. So yeah, I took some DJU overs because he's only at 17, which is really low, and he's 5.9 on DraftKings, which against a defense this bad that wants to get in shootouts, I think if Clemson hits that over, I think DJU's getting some good points here.
Okay, yeah, you all talked me out of the Clemson pick, so appreciate that. Yeah, we haven't seen anything that like shows Clemson is going to put it together this year. I don't think. I mean, outside of UConn playing UConn, I don't know if UConn's the get right game that they needed. But I don't see it. And Wake has looked good. They're 18-point meltdown away from being an undefeated, one of the only remaining undefeated teams in college football. So I've officially switched my pick. I'm going Wake as well. We will move on. JD, do you want to tackle this question or?
Yeah, I don't think Roshan's totally getting the Bijan looks, but I mean, they like Roshan. He's good back. His metrics have always been pretty advanced. Metrics have always been pretty good. 3.9K. I think he's definitely my favorite pay on option by far, under 4K. I don't think there's a need to get too cute under 4K. I would just put in Roshan. I think they're going to split a little bit because that Keelan Robinson from Alabama, so I got to check his status, but he's pretty dynamic. I think they'll use him more in the passing game, a little bit more. Some of that Bijan work, so it'll be a little bit more of a timeshare, but I think Roshan's getting all the goal line work, and so yeah, I like Roshan.
All right, moving on to one of the games with the most implications today. Got Sosa flocking up, throwing a little shade at Steven, but in the comment section. But we are going to say we are going to go to SMU going to Cincinnati. Like I said, one of the biggest one game with the most implications today. Cincinnati's they just keep fucking with not doing this thing, like they keep trying to screw this shit up, and I'm taking SMU plus the points because I've been chasing Cincinnati thinking they're going to be this team that just covers and like does what they need to do and gets those style points that they need for the game, but they just haven't shown it, and they just keep doing it time and time again. It's been since the Notre Dame game, it feels like, since they've actually covered. JD, what do you got on this one?
Well, for Cincinnati, SMU? Yeah, I've been on SMU all year. I said they were my favorite overpick season long for their total. and then Cincinnati's looked like crap. I really wanted to play SMU. It didn't make the card. I just can't tell you why. I feel like I'm a believer in the Cincinnati team. I tried to say that last week, but they looked like dog crap. But I still think they are a good team, and they match up well with SMU. So I think they're going to be able to run the ball well here. I don't know if Drum Ford's going to play, but it sounds like they held him out last week just so that they can let him run wild this week. Is what it kind of seemed like to me in a bigger game because they're playing South Florida. Or wait, who did Cincinnati play last week? Was it South Florida?
Yeah,
somebody bad. South Florida, yeah. And I mean, you could be South Florida with a bunch of walk-ons. So I mean, come on, really. But no. So this seems like a good matchup, and because SMU they throw the ball right. Tanner Mordecai is an absolute beast. Oklahoma transfer. They got all the good wide receivers. But that's what Cincinnati does. They shut down the pass. They have a couple NFL corners out there. So that was enough to talk me off of it. But I still lean the SMU side.
Yeah, I agree. We got a little debate of the system being against Cincinnati going on in the comments right now, and I mean, if the system is just look good, like, yeah, then the system's against them because they haven't looked good for weeks. So, Steven, what do you got on this one? Mute, my guy.
Fucking hell. So, I mean, I'm against either side here because I feel like at some point Cincinnati does have to break out of whatever they've been going through, but SMU also has the offense to kind of play with them if they need to. So if I like anything here, it's probably just the over, because it'll either be Cincinnati finally making that statement or SMU winning something more like a shootout. So I'm just on the over, and I wouldn't be surprised if SMU wins. I also wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati wins by like 30.
Yeah, I think there's a good range of outcomes for this one. I don't trust Cincinnati because they haven't shown they can do it since I think that Navy game was the one that kind of began this downtrend where they just can't pull away. They literally tried to give the game away against Tulsa. Goose, you have any plays for this one?
I actually like the over as well. Cincinnati's pass defense is top notch, but I just feel like Cincinnati's gonna be able to score on SMU, and it's like SMU's Super Bowl almost. Like this is their biggest game. They're gonna go out swinging. They're gonna toss the rock around. Mordecai, or however you say his name, he's getting 3 touchdowns a game in conference play. I don't see why he doesn't get another 3, despite Cincinnati's defense, especially their secondary, is legit. And yeah, I see this as Cincinnati's gonna go down and score pretty easily, and then SMU's gonna try to chase and air it out. So it feels a little gross, but I will be rocking the over 65.5.
SMU has the better quarterback. Mordecai, like I don't think that's controversial. Anybody who's watched them play, they have the better quarterback. Like Desmond Ritter's a big name, but
and if I have to watch this game and the announcers are going to be like pleading for Cincinnati to be in the playoff like they have the last 3 games, it's sad at this point. It's unbelievable. Like, grow up. I understand you're trying to get this push for Cincinnati to be in the playoff, but the pleading by the announcers is fucking nauseating. So I can't deal with that again. We'll move on to the SEC on CBS game of the day. Arkansas going to Alabama. JD, congrats on your win last week. It was an ugly game. Nobody wanted to watch. Absolutely horrifying. I mean, I guess if you're an Arkansas fan, you probably ended up liking it. But, yeah, JD got the win. Let's go right back to you. Let's hear it. Sell us on the Hogs today.
I am not going to sell you on the Hogs today, believe it or not. I think 21 points is a lot. Again, the Alabama spreads, we say it every week, they have not quite been the Death Star they have been in years past. They're a very good team, maybe the second best team in the country, but that doesn't mean the same thing. It means in other years when you're right, the second best team in the country, and right a couple of years ago when they were the second best team and LSU was the best team, like they were pretty clearly, both of them were a step ahead, right? This year, I don't think it's like that. So I think 21 points is a lot with Arkansas. That being said, Arkansas, they have the 5th best rushing attack in the nation, 3rd best among non-option teams. And with the one thing I know about Alabama, they've been very inconsistent everywhere else. The passing game, I'm still not totally a believer. They keep piling up these stats against New Mexico State. Every time they play a weak team, Bryce Young throws for 4 or 5 touchdowns. We haven't seen it against a good team. So are we going to see it against Arkansas? I don't know. We haven't really seen it this year. But the one thing I know about Alabama, right? I know the running game offensively isn't good. The passing game, they beat up on bad teams. The secondary's been hit or miss, some blown assignments. I know that their rushing defense is good, and that defensive line is nasty. Will Anderson is fucking nasty. I think he's the best player in college football. Like, I really do. And this is an Oregon fan. I got Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, Will Anderson is insane. So
he's getting legit Heisman votes, and he should. So, like, I have no problem with him getting any kind of Heisman consideration when he's playing
dominant.
As well as, yes,
he's dominant. So against Arkansas, a team that wants to run the football, that's all they do, right? Pretty much. I think they'd have to get a big game from Traylon Burks to hang in this one. That being said, we're talking about hanging in this game, and it's 3 scores. So here's what I did. I decided to take the under. I believe they will be able to limit Arkansas's rushing attack a little bit, and Arkansas usually only hits that overs if they run wild. So I'm going to take the under. And like I said, this Bryce Young guy, hey, if he throws 5 touchdowns, then you could play this clip and I go look like an idiot. But I just haven't seen him do it against actual competition.
It's a great question posed by Sosa in the chat. We haven't. I mean, it's disgusting whenever you're talking about a transfer running back. I mean, granted, Kenneth Walker has earned his Heisman hype, but like defensive players, I mean, there was serious conversation for Jordan Davis. I mean, he's a great college football player. Don't get me wrong, but like a nose tackle to win the Heisman. Like, what are we doing? That says everything you need to know. Goose, anything on this one? Any plays or anything?
I'm not going to make it an official play. I just I hear what JD's saying, and I agree. Arkansas is a big rushing team, and Bama shuts down the rush. I would lean the first half spread. That used to be a moneymaker for Alabama. Don't think it's a moneymaker this season, but I think minus 12.5 is where I lean, because I think Bama like basically just blitzes them in the scoreboard, even the first quarter. I think it gets closer in the second half. The 20 points is a lot, but that's just where I lean the Bama first half spread.
Well, the Alabama offense just hasn't been good. I don't know if their center's still out, JD. Do you know anything about that? I know in that LSU game it made a huge difference. Like, it got 6 rushing yards against LSU, and like a defense that's not really that stout. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. And Barry Odom, a better defensive coordinator, better defensive mind, is able to kind of play off that and take Alabama's running game away. Bill O'Brien just has completely torn this offense apart. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm not going to go off on my LSU coaching search tangent on Bill O'Brien. But Steven, you got any plays for this one?
Nothing official. I just get. So I already made the mistake once this year with Ole Miss, but I do still feel like sometimes when a team feels like they're starting to make that next step up to being one of the better SEC teams, and they have to go into Alabama, they usually end up getting blown out. And I'm still afraid of seeing that and being on the underdog side here. So I'm not actually playing anything, but my lean would still be towards Alabama.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's something to the trying to take that next step. Like, some of these teams in the SEC just don't have the athletes to play with Alabama. And I mean, you can get away with it, like get a fluke win here or there. I think Texas A&M actually has the athletes. They just haven't gone to Alabama to get the win. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what I saw out of Arkansas last week, like KJ Jefferson just couldn't get it done. If Alabama is able to stop the run, it's going to be blouses for him. So we'll move on though. Go to Baylor, pulling off the upset last week. Now they got to go to Kansas State. Baylor getting 1.5. Maybe a little letdown spot. Steven, do you have any plays on this one?
I'm I'm 100% on Baylor money line here. Like, I know people think it might be a letdown spot, but Kansas State isn't like, they're not bad at 7-3, but at the same time, Baylor's offense is so good. I think that's where the mismatch is. Like, Baylor's defense hasn't been the best, but when you're playing an offense that's not all that good anyway, I think your offense can just put up over 30 and you'll be able to win this game almost 100 times out of 100. So I think it's Baylor all day here.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Baylor seems like one of the only schools that's had like their coach thrown out in like these coaching conversations, these openings, that looks like they haven't really been affected yet. So, I mean, I kind of think there's something to that with how Dave Aranda, he's going to be in Baton Rouge by Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, he's going to be in Baton Rouge by Thanksgiving Sunday. What are we talking about? If he's there by Super Bowl Sunday, it's way too late. But yeah, I do think Dave Aranda just has like this kind of stoic presence about him, able to keep the team focused, very process-oriented guy. So I think he'll have the team focused and ready to go. They're a much better team than Kansas State. I know Kansas State hung around with Oklahoma for a little bit earlier this year. I haven't really watched them since that game. But I like the way Baylor's playing. I think they have enough on offense to get this done, and Dave Aranda's going to have the defense ready to go. Goose, you have any plays for this one?
Yeah. Shout out Sosa. If you're scared, go to church. That's his line right there. I'm scared. Look, so I'm scared. But shout out Sosa. If you're scared, go to church. Look, part of me feels like don't overthink it. Like Baylor's the side. I bet on Kansas State a couple times. They're a really good team, but at the same time, Baylor's a step above. So I don't think they should be dogs. Even though I respect Kansas State, as I said, I bet on them a couple times. But yeah, it could be like a letdown spot. Like I don't want to. This line, I guess, scares me. So I'm going to church. I feel like Baylor should be like maybe a 2-point favorite, 3-point favorite, because I think they're a great team, very well coached. I think he'd be a great leader at LSU. I really like this coach. Their running attack has been amazing. But at the same time, Kansas State has a 4-game win streak. Sure, they haven't really beat any top dog. So I'm going to lay off. I'm overthinking it.
JD, any plays for you?
I just want to say that I agree with what Stevens had to say today. I agree with everything he said. Yeah, we were all on Baylor last week. We're all on Baylor this week. I don't have an official play, but I don't really have a negative thing to say about either of these two teams. I've actually played Kansas State a lot this year, but I'm in complete agreement. What negative is there to say about Baylor? They have good defense as well, and they have a better offense.
And they have a chance to get to the Big 12 championship game, right? Yeah. So I mean, why they have something to play for? Like, don't blow it against a team you're better than, and just take care of your business. Get to the Big 12 championship. See if you can do that. I mean, I don't understand. I think they'll be ready to go today. We'll go with the nightcap, best game on the slate probably today. JD's Ducks going to Utah. All right, we're flocking up here too. JD, let's hear it. What you got?
All right, so obviously I'm biased here. I don't play the games that my teams are in, but maybe I could give a little bit of insight. I've been all about Utah. I think they've been surging. I think they've been coming for the Pac-12 championship. They're playing at home here. These two teams are probably going to play again. So I'm not quite sure what we'll see. Tavion Thomas, the Utah running back, they held him out last week. I'm curious to see whether they were holding him out so they could play him this week, because it sounds like he could have played, or whether or not they're still going to hold him out to the Pac-12 championship. So I've been all about Utah. And I've been kind of, I've been throwing out words of caution for Oregon. While I'm an Oregon fan, it's like they could beat anybody and they can lose to anybody. I mean, they lost to Stanford. And that's the way it's been with this team for a couple of years under Mario Cristobal. They're very, very talented. You don't know exactly what you're going to expect. So here on the road in Salt Lake City, I would tell you Utah, but Utah's a 3-point favorite over Oregon. And even me, who's like the biggest Utah guy there could be as far as betting this year, they shouldn't be a 3-point favorite, in my opinion. Oregon is money as a dog. I think I tweeted out something a couple of weeks ago. Oregon just auto bet them as an underdog. They almost never cover the spread as a favorite. Almost never. Last week was one of the exceptions, and Jaden Delora fumbled the ball out of the end zone for them to cover. So Oregon as an underdog when they're the more talented team. If it's plus 3.5, you're getting the hook. The line seems crazy to me. But yeah, that's about all I say. Nothing for me. I'm just very nervous about this game. I'm very, very nervous. I don't know what to expect.
Is it? I mean, obviously you have to beat Utah twice to have serious playoff consideration. So it's almost. I mean, I understand. You said it last week. It's almost like if you lose one of these games, you get to go to the but you win the Pac-12, you still get to go to the Rose Bowl. No really expectations. But have you talked yourself into maybe the playoffs yet, or does it have to get past this game first?
I don't know if I've talked myself into it. It depends where the other chips fall. Now the chips haven't fallen. I mean, I don't want to play Georgia. Let me tell you that much. I just don't want to play Georgia. And maybe if we play someone else as a 2 seed, I mean, we've already beat Ohio State once, so I wouldn't hate it. But I just don't want to play Georgia. If we get in, play Georgia as a 4 seed, I'm just not even going to watch.
It looks. Really. I mean, it looks like if Alabama, if what happens and we think Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship game, it looks like we're headed straight for a rematch.
Yeah.
With Ohio State. So I mean, that's where it looks like we're going. Steven, you have any official plays on this one?
Nothing official. This game's really kind of confusing for me because I also love Utah. I mean, they burned me one of the first times I bet them this year against Oregon State. That game hurt. But at the same time, Oregon definitely has more to lose here. I'm afraid of Oregon coming out and not kind of like playing free, just showing up and being a little tight. So, like, if they do that and Utah's out here as like the team with really nothing to lose and they just play faster, they could definitely win, but the line doesn't make sense to me at all either. Like, Utah should not be favored in this game. So this is one that has me just kind of completely lost, and I would be afraid to bet either side here.
Goose?
Yeah, I especially because it's 3.5. I'm rocking with Oregon. I feel like Utah is the trendy play. I mean, maybe when there's smoke, there's fire. But I feel like Utah's the trendy play, and that makes me like Oregon even more. Look, I'll admit I haven't watched Utah play this season, but I will say their last 3 games are against Arizona, Stanford, and UCLA when UCLA's quarterback was hurt. So they played like 3 weak teams in a row. I just think they're probably a great team. I'm not trying to discredit it. I'm just saying now they're gonna go up a level in competition, and I think it might be like almost an adjustment. I mean, at the end of the day, Pac-12 teams, they're not scrubs, they're not JV, but like this is the top of the Pac-12 when they were just playing the bottom of the Pac-12. And also one stat I saw, Utah's kickers, because they've used 2, are like 9 for 14 on the year, and Oregon's kicker is like 47 for 48 from extra points and 10 for 10. I think that could be a big deal. 10 for 10 in field goals. I think the kicker matchup could be a big deal, especially when the line is so close. So I'm going to side with Oregon. I mean, you know me, I love my special teams. And yeah, so also JD mentioned it earlier. I don't know if Utah's best running back is playing or not. I heard he's not. At the end of the day, they still have 2 other good running backs, but I heard the name slipped me. I heard the Utah top running back is not playing, but we'll have to confirm that before but yeah, I like Oregon, especially with the hook, the 3.5.
Don't they have a former LSU running back at Utah there, don't they?
Chris Curry, he's 4th on the depth chart.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
They got Oklahoma transfer, they got a Cincinnati transfer, they got an LSU transfer, and then they got one homegrown guy. So they got a lot of transfers.
well, in the year of the transfer, I guess you can't really knock them for that. So right now we're gonna let Steven give us a little preview, maybe of what we're gonna have for Feast Week coming up. Maybe what we can look forward to with Paid for Play for college basketball season. I know I'll be involved. Rex will be a little more involved. Goose and JD will try to make their appearances, but they won't be as regular. JD's got going into his basketball coaching schedule as we just heard about. Maybe some late nights for him, but Steven, what are we going to see this week? Maybe give us some games to look out for. Those of us that haven't been paying as much attention to college basketball yet in the early season, what are some games we can look forward to? And tell us a little bit.
Yep. So, I mean, just starting today for people who want to have a second screen going while they're watching college football, there's 2 great games today. You got Villanova playing Tennessee at 1 o'clock. That game's going to be just a really good game. I want to see Tennessee's freshmen, like Kennedy Chandler, Brandon Huntley Hatfield. Those guys should both be insane. And then coming up right after that, you got Purdue, North Carolina. So you got 2 great games there. Then you got the Maui Classic starting on Monday. So I mean, those games are always great. There's Butler, Houston, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, and then even in like the Fort Myers tip-off, everybody kind of has been saying the Big East is supposed to be a little down this year. But at the same time, we killed the Big Ten in the Gavitt games this past week. So this Ohio State Seton Hall game on Monday will also be interesting to see just how deep the Big East can be and what kind of team Ohio State's going to be. But, I mean, just all around, like even like Sam, even you guys got a tough game on Monday. Having to play Belmont, like that team is –
Dude, Will Wade is a scheduling genius. Like he's great at getting like the mid-majors teams that are probably going to end up winning their conference and that are going to look great. Like they're going to be wins against tournament teams come March, and the committee will still not respect it and put us as like an 8 or 9 seed still. But yeah, I agree. Like all that, like Will Wade knows what he's doing scheduling, and it makes those games a little bit more fun to watch just because you know you're going to actually get some competition. It's not just a win.
Yeah, and then obviously a lot of the games are still to be decided because you got to get through like the tournaments. But I mean, if people are going to try to tell me you can't get up and you can't get excited for Gonzaga, UCLA on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, Like what are we doing out here? 1 versus 2 this early in the year. It's a great year to be a college basketball fan.
When was that? They said that was Tuesday?
Tuesday at 10 o'clock or 10 o'clock Eastern.
Okay. I mean, it's the day before Blackout Wednesday. Like, stay up and watch it, dude. Like, no one's working on Wednesday.
Exactly.
So don't get me started. Shit, this is oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to college basketball season. Probably most hyped I've been about it in a long time. I saw some Purdue -6 comment in the chat for today. Purdue, they're the best. Are they the best team in the Big Ten?
It looks like it so far. I mean, a lot of these teams people thought were going to be good in the Big Ten already got a loss.
Yeah, I looked at them last year in the tournament whenever they were making that Big Ten tournament run. I realized that they were probably going to get every single player back on their team. I wanted to put in a future for them to win Big Ten tournament like March last year, but I forgot to do it for this year because I always do it. I can't like move on to college basketball before the season starts. I'm trying to be better about it this year, but yeah. All right. We will, anyone has any questions for JD, maybe do some prop talk, DFS talk here real quick. JD, you have any advice for the people? Post any questions you have in the chat, maybe some prize pick questions.
Yeah. So DFS, I'll go pretty quick, but Roshan Johnson, I mentioned him, the pay down option. You get a Texas starting Running back, a Steve Sarkisian starting running back at 3.9K. I just think you don't overthink it at that point. You just play it. The quarterbacks are great. There's the pay down options. Phil Jerkovic is at 4.5K. So if you start your lineup there, you got 2 very cheap options that could get you a decent amount of points. So I think it's pretty easy. I think you do that, and then you hit the pay up options. The wide receiver, the mid tier, they're still very appealing in that, like 6.4K to 7.3K. You got Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, David Bell. They're all still in that range, and those Big Ten receivers have been absolutely crushing it this year. So I have a lot of those. So that's where we're going here. Okay, these prize picks. If you're not using prize picks, you got to be playing prize picks, folks. Like, I'm trying to tell you, I'm not the snake oil salesman. Like, this is the most profitable thing you can do, in my opinion, in betting sports, is to do DFS and specifically prize picks for college. The market is super soft. The lines are super soft. It's kind of a newish market, and just not that many people are on it. There's like just not enough money in it, apparently, that the lines don't move. But we're putting money on it for sure. If you're not using it, it's prize picks. You take over, under. You can take props, and you can take fantasy points. So let me reel them off, because if you don't believe me, we hit another 5 for 5 last night on some Friday games we barely paid attention to, because it is what it is. So I'm not saying these are guaranteed to hit. I'm saying there's a lot of value in them. That's what betting is, right? CJ Stroud over 25 fantasy points. That's up to 26. Like we said, Michigan State cannot stop the pass. Jackson Dart, I have a lot of money in Jackson Dart today. I'll talk about that game later. He was at 18.5 against UCLA. I mean, USC throws the ball 45 times a game, and UCLA hasn't stopped the pass all year against bad teams too. So, and he runs. He could get a rushing touchdown. 18.5, that was the worst line ever. That's my favorite one of the day. Chris Rodriguez, I took his overs over 19 fantasy points and over 0.5 rushing touchdowns. They're playing New Mexico State. If you don't know what the deal is with New Mexico State, I don't know if I can help you at this point. They suck. We took we got a few more here. We took Jarek Broussard, Colorado running back, over 55.5 rushing yards. He's gone over 100 in 2 straight games, and now he's playing Washington, who just gave up about 400 quadrillion rushing yards to Rachaad White. All he has to do is get 55.5. That's all the offense does, is run Jarek Broussard. I like Kenny Pickett overs. I like him in DFS as well. They're playing Virginia. Virginia has a bottom 10 passing defense in the country. I like Will Rogers. I really like this one, over 22.5 fantasy points. They're playing Tennessee Tech, and it's an air raid offense. They throw the ball 55 times a game. They're playing Tennessee Tech. He can't get 22 fantasy points. Come on, get out of here. And like I said earlier, I played DJU. This one makes me feel a little ugly, but Wake Forest sucks. So I took DJU over 17. That will conclude the weekly program, and now I am awake. So
yeah, I don't even think, like, next week we don't even need to get JD any coffee. We just need to get him going, like, just DFS and prize picks right off the bat, because the man goes into an absolute zone whenever he gets talking. It's something. It's the dude's handing out free money. Like, he shows you the receipts every week. Like, he wins money on prize picks. If you're not following him, you're stupid. He's handing out free money. Take it. So, all right. That will conclude the fantasy advice. Thank you for getting us jacked up, JD. We'll go into the official cards for the day. Goose, we're flocking up, baby. We'll all do the Angels in the outfield. Just stand up. Everybody do the flap. Flock up, baby. Let's go. Let's hear the plays for the day. 4-0 coming in.
Chris Olave over 74.5 receiving yards. Clemson, Wake Forest over 57. Cincinnati, SMU over 65.5. And Oregon plus 3.5. Those are my 4 plays today. And enjoy the Saturday.
All right, flock up, baby. Steven, let's get your plays for the day.
All right, so I think Oklahoma bounces back well against an Iowa State team that's worse than Baylor. So Oklahoma -3, I like that. I also, who else do I like? I like UTSA -4. I think they're gonna finish out their perfect season. I know UAB is pretty good, but on the road at UTSA, who's having probably the best season they'll have in a long time, they're gonna win by at least a touchdown. I'm also on UCLA -3.5 against USC. I think Chip Kelly's he's got to get that rivalry win over USC. And again, Baylor money line easy over Kansas State. And then this one's not official, but I gotta say it somewhere. I just need Auburn to win the game today. I got Auburn season win total over 6.5. I don't think they do it against Alabama, so they gotta beat South Carolina tonight.
They don't beat South Carolina tonight. They might be in some different deep water.
Yeah, well, they got an LSU transfer at quarterback, so I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. No, I'm just kidding. But, just talking shit on LSU.
Yeah, I mean,
can't be worse than
it doesn't even faze me right now. That's just where we're at. At this point, I just want, our coach literally earlier this week said an opposing coach 8 weeks into the season had to tell him his defense was running the same thing every play. He was running the same defense every play. At this point, I just don't want our next coach to be a fucking moron. Know something about football. So, all right, JD, official card for the day. Got us jacked up with the prize picks. Let's hear some more winners.
Yeah, I took the Bama under 58.5, like I said. Boise State minus 27. I don't really play lines this high usually, but go ahead and take a look at what New Mexico football team has done over the last month. I'll be honest, I wasn't paying that very close attention to it. This team can't score points. They're scoring 3 points, 7 points, just no offense, 120 yards of offense here in a total game. They can't move the ball. This Boise State team is different than they were in the first half. I faded them in the first half. They have really impressed me as of late. They didn't cover last week, but there was a last-second touchdown. It was very unlucky, so I like them minus 27. I think they're going to shut down New Mexico. I think all they have to do is score a couple touchdowns. UCLA, USC. Man, Steven, I'm telling you, everything Steven's been saying, I've been agreeing with. I'm also on UCLA. This is where most of my money is. Somehow it ends up in this UCLA-USC game. I don't know how this happens. It just popped up off the board. I like Jackson Dart's over. I like the over 65.5 in the game. UCLA runs the ball very well. USC can't stop the run at all. So that's strength on weakness. And then for the USC side of the ball, they throw the ball very well. I think Jackson Dart is an upgrade over Keaton Slovis. And UCLA can't stop the pass at all. So I think both teams are going to score. Both teams are going to be fired up. At the end of the day, I do think UCLA is definitely the better team. They've been, Chip Kelly on the hot seat, this, that. We've been spending all this money. We need to see the results on the field. How better to show the results on the field than kick your rival's ass in their own place in the Coliseum. So I like UCLA minus 3.5.
I like it. I'm trying to stick to where we're not just firing from the hip and throwing out 20 plays a day. I still have a good amount, but trying to keep it concise today. I got Michigan State plus 19. We already talked about that. Michigan State, Ohio State over 68.5. Got that earlier this week, so it's rising up a little bit like that. You all talked me off Clemson. I'm on Wake plus 4 now. SMU plus 11.5. And then some of the games we haven't really covered today. Florida, Missouri over. Florida gave up 52 fucking points to Samford last week. So, I mean, come on. And they put up 70 themselves. Missouri has the worst defense in the SEC. Florida looks like they might have the second worst defense in the SEC. So they fired their defensive coordinator, and it looks like they just didn't put anybody in charge of the defense. So I like the over there. I got it at 69.5. I'll take ULL, Louisiana Lafayette. I will not call them the University of Louisiana. ULL plus 4. Probably going to sprinkle some on the money line. They're playing for the Sun Belt Conference Championship. I think Billy Napier is a really good coach. Don't know if he'll get that LSU job, but really think he's got them going in a good direction. And Liberty's a sporadic team. I feel like they're susceptible to turnovers. Levi Lewis is playing good for ULL. I like them in that spot. Baylor plus 1, probably going to sprinkle some on Baylor money line as well. And then I don't like laying this number, especially with Ole Miss, but Ole Miss minus 36 and the Ole Miss Vandy over 64. That feels gross to play. I'm not even going to look at that game. It's just, I feel like Ole Miss is definitely Ole Miss can cover that 64 by themselves. And I think if Vandy just gets 1 or 2 scores, we're going to get that over pretty easily. So anything else for you guys? Any other questions coming from the chat? All right. This has been Paid for Play, episode 12. We'll be back next Saturday. It's It's getting close, fellas. We're almost at the end. It's rivalry weekend in college football. It's going to be a good show. We're looking forward to it. Steven, thank you for hopping on. Everybody, let's go win some money. Enjoy your Saturday.
Shot Penn State.